Young man, you kind of had a famous father who kind of like cast a huge shadow on the local football scene. Talk a little bit about your dad.
Well, my father was instrumental in my learning to coach. He played at University of Michigan, and he came back to Grand Rapids and coached Grand Rapids Union for, I don't know, I think 30 years. And when I played for him, he taught me to be disciplined and to work hard, and good things would happen. And one of the other big things in football he taught me to have field position. Some of you don't know what that is, but control the field, you control the game.
So your dad, Milo, who was that guy that he played football with at Michigan?
Tom Harmon.
Tom Harmon, okay, that's right. So you got to grow up in a football household. As a little kid, you're the ball boy, and over time, you get to high school and you get to play for your father at Union High School. How much fun was that?
It was fun most of the time, except when I would make a mistake, he would pull me off the field, put his arm around me, and punch me in the side a little bit. So he would say, "David!" And then we'd get back to the game. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and thank God I had an opportunity.
So you were an all-city quarterback with your dad as the coach, had a lot of fun. You were successful enough as a high school quarterback that you got to walk on to your dad's alma mater, the Michigan football team. And I forget the guy's name who was your coach there.
Yeah, starts with a bow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to go on that training table, tutors. They do take good care of you. But I made the team in the spring, got my number, and I went and talked to Bo, and Bo says, "You know, you're doing great. Do you need a job in Grand Rapids?" No. And you know, I talked to him for quite a while, and then I transferred when I came back to Grand Rapids. Not a good choice. Not a good choice.
I love that. You wanted to be a quarterback, and he wanted to be a defensive back, so
Right.
you just quit.
Oh yeah. So I tried to play some of the other schools. Yeah, it was a tough thing, but I look back. You know, I should have stayed at that U of M building.
Yeah. So you had a lot of fun playing football through college, and then you get out of college, and we're going to jump into your coaching career, which spanned for I don't know 1,000 or so years. But what was your first coaching job?
Oh man, my first coaching job. My wife says it was coaching her brother at 6th grade at one of the elementaries here in Grand Rapids. But that's one of them. And then there's so many. I worked with young kids at all the parks in the summer. So, you know, I just can't remember every one of them.
And somewhere early on, you landed at Forest Hills Northern, and that kind of started a legacy that lives today. Your first coaching job there was freshman football, was it?
Yes, I'm coaching under Jerry Saraki and with Tim McGee, coaching football, 9th grade. I really enjoyed it. And then I moved up a little bit. Finally, I took charge as a head coach. I think started 83.
So when you were coaching that freshman team, did you ever get in trouble?
I don't know if I got in trouble, but if the kids didn't play where I'd like them to play, I would get on and run a play right at them. Took the 3-point stance and blocked them and hit them. So I was involved. Like some people say, I was showing them how to block and how to tackle.
So one of your games as a freshman coach, you won by quite a lot. And some would say that you maybe were disrespectful to the other team. Do you recall anything like that?
Oh, yes. So my freshman coaching year, I was in a game and we had a blow, I shouldn't say that, but blow 47-0. And my second string quarterback hasn't thrown many passes. So I brought him in the game and he threw another touchdown pass and I got in a little trouble that way. And had to run a letter to all high school, apologizing. I know. That's so rude.
Okay, so you were a football coach, freshman, JV, then you got to the varsity job, and you were the varsity football coach for 13 years.
Yes.
What were some of the highlights of your 13 years as a varsity football coach?
Some of the highlights were, I had Mitch Lyons, which he's a member, and Steve Scheffler. A couple of times we had big games against Belding, and it was a close game, and we lost by, I think, 8 at our place, and all the players go back to the locker room, and they're crying, and they're still crying, and I tried to say, we gotta go. They wouldn't let me leave the locker room until 11:30. And they were just, they worked hard for what they wanted, and it just happens, Can't win them all.
Yeah. So you mentioned two guys that local legends here, both in the Hall of Fame. Steve Scheffler, who had a great career as a basketball player at Purdue, played a dozen years in the NBA. Mitch Lyons, Michigan State, NFL. What was it like having famous athletes like that on your team?
Well, it was really wonderful having them. I didn't use Steve enough with passing because he was such a good blocker. Mitch, we threw a lot of passes to. I enjoyed having both of them on my team.
What was the recruiting process like? Did any famous coaches ever show up looking for those guys?
It was fun because McCarthy, I think, from Colorado, he was always in, and Bo was in, Perlis. There were coaches from all over the country. One coach, Gene Cady, he was recruiting Steve Scheffler, and every day he was up in Grand Rapids, he would come out and play tennis with my tennis team. So he'd take off his shirt, and big guy as he was, he'd come out and have a great tennis match with us.
And Coach K made an appearance chasing after Scheffler.
Yeah, Coach K came out years before he was a well-known coach. He came into my office, and my son John and I sat there with him for like a half an hour talking about sports and Scheffler and basketball.
So, and probably your best football team was, Mitch's team was 9-0 one year.
Yeah, the 9-0 year was a disappointment for all of us that were on the team. We lost it by .05. We had a great team. Mitch, we had a running back at 2,000 yards. We had 7 shutouts, and we just were a great team. And at that time, there were 5 teams in the state that were undefeated, and we were the one team out.
So it was back in the weird computer era, and you guys didn't even qualify for the playoffs.
No, we didn't qualify. We had many years we were 7-2, 8-1, 6-3, and we didn't even qualify.
So in your coaching evolution, you coached a lot of sports in the Forest Hills Northern District. At one time, you were coaching 3 or 4 sports at once, right?
Yes. I was coaching football. I think it was JV level, and then I was coaching swimming, which they made me start the program because there was no one else in the school that started. And then I was also coaching baseball part of that time, and then I went on to tennis.
And while you were doing that, you had you were working on your master's degree?
Yes, in Central Michigan.
You had 3 kids.
I had 3 kids and a wonderful wife and my wife did a lot of work for me. One summer, I was finishing my master's, and I was the head football coach. I ran the weight room every day. We practiced, shouldn't say this, almost every day. So I was taking the class at community college, and I couldn't go. So I asked the instructor if my wife could go for me. So she said, I'll do it. So she went to my class, took all the notes for me.
It's the only class you ever got an A in.
That's right, the only class.
So you got to coach so long that those little kids, 2 daughters and a son, they grew up and you got to be a coach for those, all 3 of them at one time or another.
Yeah, having your own kids, I had John in football and tennis. It was great, wonderful having them. I had both daughters in tennis, but sometimes they wouldn't get along on the tennis court together. So when I worked on their tennis, it was individually.
So let me see, I got to remember the exact number. What you won 16 state championships as a tennis coach, and 11 times you were the runner-up. When you are regaling about what a great coach you are, do you think more about the 16 championships you won, or do you think every once in a while about one of those 11 that where you finished second?
To be truthful, I think about the ones that got away from us. One was my son's year in '94. They were so far ahead of Cranbrook, all we had to do was win one semifinal match and we would win it. Well, they were going crazy Friday night before the finals with squirt guns and having a great time. I'm trying to calm them down, thinking, you got to be ready. That day came and we lost all 5 semis and ended up in second place.
So it's not, John, that he didn't get over it, but he did break a coffee cup when he told me that story. But, yeah. Next year,
and then the next year, John's senior year, we're so far ahead of Cranbrook, I think we won by 10 or 12 points the state tournament. So they vowed that they were going to win it, and they did.
I know some of the kids that are on this year's team are here. You retired from coaching, but you still find yourself at practice time showing up at the practice field. What's that all about?
It's hard to give it up. I mean, when I was a football coach and quit, I really liked Friday nights for a long time, and now I gotta go back. I can't stay away from it. Some of our players over there, girls, were state champs. They had almost 3 out of 4 years. They're doing a great job for Forest Hills.
What did you like most about coaching? What is it that just got you so enthralled that you did this for 41 years?
First, I'd like to make a comment about my assistants. There's like 4, 5, 6 of them here. They did help me during football and tennis and did a great job. They were a part of me, and my son was with me many of the years, and he helped me out and helped the other coaches. What got me going in football and tennis was finding a way to win. Being behind didn't bother me at all. I'd always try to find a way to win in football, try to find a way to win in tennis. You have to play it a certain way, do a certain thing. That's what made me happy, trying to find a way to win.
So you also have a very full table of memorabilia. Any of those pictures or trophies or awards that are back there hold special place in your heart?
There's quite a few of them. One was the picture I have at Michigan carrying the football, which was fun. We got to practice in the big house every day. Many teams, many individuals got to talk to me about their skills. Many individuals call me all the time. I'm picking up the phone, taking calls, Coach, how you doing? How are you? Those are probably the most important things you got to me.
So part of your legacy as a longtime member of the Forest Hills Northern family, as a coach, a teacher, just a familiar face to everybody, you spent a lot of time with kids during the day, having lunch, just encouraging them along. What are your memories of some of those conversations?
Well, over the years, I had 2 or 3 students. A couple were tennis players and a couple were not, and they did not like school. They were in with me at lunchtime telling me I can't be here, I didn't want to be here, but, Coach just talked to me, so I talked them through staying at Northern, but they weren't real happy with that. So, but now that I see them later on in life, they're in business and doing a great job.
Every once in a while you see a coach on the sideline get particularly excited and maybe run out onto the field or get in an argument with an opposing coach. Did you ever get any flags thrown against you or get kicked out of the game or anything like that?
I never got kicked out of a game, but I had a few flags on me. The officials were supposed to be doing an equal job, and I'm not sure if that night they were. And,
so you're convinced it was the officials who were wrong?
Yeah, it wasn't my players.
Good. All right. What do you think if your dad could put his arms around young David and his shoulder pads and as he sees you sitting here tonight being put in the Hall of Fame, what do you think your dad would think of all
He'd be
this?
very proud. He'd be very proud, and he would say, "Good job." Wasn't a man with a lot of words, but you knew what he was talking and thinking about.
Yeah.
The big thing I talked to earlier, having my 3 kids, Laura, John, and Ann, play for me and be together in my household was wonderful. But my biggest help was my wife, Leslie. She was my biggest critic and my biggest fan. I came home to many matches and meets, and she would say, "What are you doing?" So I had to kind of explain to her. She said, "No, you didn't do it right that time." So, but she's the best person in my life, and I love her.
Beautiful. Good. See, Billy, how he got that in there real early. You're going to hear about that too. So you had a busy household, right?
Yes.
And you had a neighbor, Tim McGee,
Yes.
also a famous football coach. And so you guys, like talking out your bedroom windows to each other about some plays? Or
We both had patios and decks out the back. And one time, I think it was either Tim's or my anniversary, and instead of going to the anniversary, we were talking football all night long, so that didn't go over very well with us.
And also your home was the local landing spot for a fellowship of Christian athletes on Wednesday nights, or I forget what night it was on. But.
Yeah, it was, I started at Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Northern, and I think we had it for 12 years. Mitch was there, Scheffler came sometimes. My wife liked my wife the best because she would make the greatest Rice Krispie treats there in the world.
Perfect. Coach, what are you most grateful for as you're looking back at your career?
Well, first of all, I thank God for everything that I was blessed with. Being in Forest Hills, I was blessed with a lot of great players, with a good administration, a lot of good people, and I was blessed with having good players play for me in all the different sports.
So, is there anybody here tonight that you want to make sure you recognize? Your family, assistants, are we forgetting anybody?
Well, there's a lot of people, and if I name a couple, I'll forget a couple. So, but my wife, would you stand up? No, she won't.
Come on.
I talked about leaving Michigan, but she said if I wouldn't have left Michigan my freshman year, I would have never met her. But I would have found her somewhere. But anyways, some of our girls back there, Ladies, stand up on the team back there. The excellent players. I don't know if some of the boys got here. They're in a regional tonight. In fact, I don't know how they came out. I had to leave. And then a couple things with my daughters. Laura and Ann, stand up. I told you many times I was the head football coach and taking classes, and I had to hit, tennis with those two all the time, and I tried to get them to take up one lesson together, and oh my goodness, it was just awful. Talking about sisters having a problem. I would even smack balls at them just to try to calm them down. One time I left them at the courts, and I came home, my wife said, "Where are the girls?" I said, "They were fooling around, I left them at the courts." So, but those two took a lot of things from me, but they're two good tennis players.
Great. Well, David, it's been a thrill for me to get to know you and your family. We're excited about the legacy that you've left at Forest Hills Northern. You're 41 years there. You've just been a consistent, great role model, and we're really happy to celebrate with you tonight as we bring you into the